Howdy folks, it's Leo Alderpold, and I think I might have just found my favourite spot. I've just come out for a bit of a ramble, maybe a couple of miles from where I'm staying, just following one of the paths that winds its way down along a river, and I've come across this meadow with a few oak trees in it, and the meadow's completely uncut. So the grass is really tall, which is great because it gives me some privacy, and I can sit here underneath this beautiful oak tree and read and smoke and not be bothered by anybody. There is a footpath just over in that direction there that maybe about 30 meters, 40 meters or so. But because the grass is so tall, nobody would ever know I was here. Yeah. So I think I might have just found my my little local hangout. But I've come out for a bit of a ramble today because the motorbike's in the workshop. Cheers. Yesterday I had a puncture while I was out. I rode down to Glastonbury to catch up with a friend and go for a ride, and I got a puncture coming out of Glastonbury, and because my bike's got tubes, it's not a tubeless wheel, a tubeless tyre. I wasn't able to fix it at the roadside, unfortunately, so it's now had to go to a workshop, and I've got to wait for a new tube to arrive. But could be worse. It's pretty dangerous getting a rapid flat on the rear wheel of a bike when you're going quite fast, but I managed to stay on the thing and get to safety, which is cool. So yeah, a bit of a ramble today. I've just rekindled a love affair with the books of a guy that I used to read a lot of a long time ago, 20 years or more. And so I've come out, I've just got one of his books through eBay. I used to have an entire collection of his, but I gave it to the guy who I replaced, who retired in one of my previous jobs. And I kind of regret doing that now because I really loved those books. But in any case, I'm trying to replenish my collection. So this is the first, probably one of the first books of his I ever read. It's called Home Country. And the author is Richard Mabey. Now, Richard Mabey's quite famous for a book he wrote in the 70s called Food for Free, which is one of the first foraging guides. But actually, he went on to write about how he really regretted to a certain extent writing that book, or publishing it anyway, because it's what he's most well known for, but it was only really just an exploration of his own journey through discovering what wild foods, what wild plants you could eat. I mean, he fully acknowledges there's a lot of errors in it, and some information which is downright dangerous, to be honest. So yeah, but in any case, what I really know him for are these books on landscapes that he writes, because he really just has the most beautiful way of expressing landscape and what it means to people. And I'll just read you the first paragraph, the very first paragraph of this book, just to put that in some context. He writes, I was about 15 when I was first smitten by a landscape. It was an intense affair, with all of the obsessiveness and muddling emotions of a teenage crush. I mooned around in it, tried to understand it, dreamed about it at nights. I love that passion, that real passion that he has for landscape, because I completely get it. I completely understand it. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, all I ever did was just go rambling and roving and exploring and just experiencing the landscapes in which I found myself. And I didn't need any friends to do it. You know, it's one of those great things that you just do on your own, and it's wonderful. But anyway, that's not really the subject of this video. I thought I'd do a first impressions video of something that's that I've been meaning to try for a while, but I got a package through the post this morning. I needed to replenish a couple of things, and you'll know already by the title of this video, it's Coniston cut plug. Now, I did a video, it would have been probably best part of 2 years ago. No, more like 18 months or so, perhaps, I don't know. When I talked about my first experience with Lakelands. In particular, I think I was smoking Ennerdale in that video, Ennerdale Flake. And I'll probably end up repeating a bit of what I said in that video, but my first experience of Lakelands was my good friend Sam. I traded some tobacco with him, and he sent me some, I think it was Special Flake number 2. And obviously when I talk about Lakelands, I'm talking about Gareth and Hogarth, or Samuel Gareth. They're the only people that make Lakelands, and have done obviously for hundreds of years. So yeah, I mean, I tried that stuff and I couldn't stand the smell of it. It was stinking out my car driving back from Cambridgeshire or wherever the hell I'd been. And then when I got back to the house, it got relegated to a jar on the landing outside on the balcony, because it just made the house smell awful, I thought at the time. But in any case, later on I tried, I thought I'd see what all the hype was about. So I tried the Ennerdale, and actually I've really come to love it. So I ordered some more of that a couple of days ago, and it arrived today, as it does. mysmokingshop.co.uk. Always absolutely brilliant service there. They always have exactly what you want, and it gets you the day after. Best tobacconist in Britain. But anyway, I thought I'd try something a bit different as well. I wasn't quite sure what I was going on there to look for, but in hindsight I think it might have been the Cobb plug. But in any case, what I came across was the Coniston cut plug. So I just ordered 25 grams of that, just to see how I get on with it. And I have to say, it's bloody lovely. Now, Lakelands are a Marmite thing. You either love them or you hate them, generally. I think there's very few people who are indifferent to a Lakeland tobacco. It's something that provokes, like politics, it's something that provokes either disgust or absolute adoration. And I love them. One of the things I think I noticed as soon as I lit this pipe was the smell just took me back to being at school, actually, because I'm of an age where I remember being able to go into the staff room. If for any reason I had to go to the staff room, the staff could still smoke in their staff room back in those days. And there were people that smoked pipes who were teachers, and the smell of Lakelands hanging around in the air was something that's actually, when you've smelt it, you never forget it. And it's kind of like a Madeleine moment, from Proust. La Recherche de Temps Perdu, if I pronounce that correctly in appalling French. Yeah, it's like that Madeleine moment from Proust. The smell of a Lakeland tobacco either kind of takes you somewhere, or it's completely alien to you. And I think that probably explains why a lot of people like them, because I think there's that moment of recognition that sort of transports you back to the time that you first smelt it. On which subject, actually, one of the tobaccos I've been wanting to try for a long time used to be called Player's Whiskey. And I think I can't remember what it's called now. It's sold under a different brand name these days, but I'm sure somebody will comment what it is. That's one thing I haven't tried, but which I remember as a child walking down the streets. I probably was about 13 years old. And I asked this guy who walked past what he was smoking in his pipe, and he just sort of looked at me and funny said, "Player's Whiskey?" And I went, "Oh, thank you." and wandered off because I thought it smelt amazing. So anyway, onto the Coniston cut plug. Well, it's a burley forward blend, and I'm no expert on what tastes like what. I just know what I like, but I know that I like burley. But as it's burley forward, it's got quite a strong taste to it. If you like burleys, then it's a great one to try. But the thing that strikes me immediately about it is if you've never tried a Lakeland, and you want to, but you're quite keen on your strong tobaccos anyway, you know, dark fired, burley, that sort of thing, then actually Coniston cut plug is probably a really good one to start with, because as far as Lakelands go, it's really mellow on the floral note. To the point where actually I think the floral note's really subtle, really subtle. But at the same time, it's definitely there. You definitely know that it's there. You know that it's a Lakeland. I suppose a little bit like Revor plug, because Revor is, you know, strictly speaking, it's a Lakeland tobacco, and it has got a slight kind of Lakeland taste to it. Slightly floral taste, but it's not really something that you can put your finger on and define it like you can with Ennerdale or Grasmere or something like that. But it's a strong tobacco, this one, so probably not an early in the morning smoke, but do you know what, it's beautifully smooth, and I love the fact that that Lakeland smell, that Lakeland aroma is just subtle. It's not overpowering at all. It's really pleasant. And on a gorgeous summer day like this, we've got clouds scudding over, periods of sunshine, and then it goes a bit dark and moody, and here sitting underneath this beautiful oak tree, it's a bloody lovely thing to be smoking, quite frankly. So yeah, I will strongly recommend trying this stuff out, even if you're not a fan of Lakelands, or if you want to try exploring Lakelands. One thing I should have done though, as it's taken numerous relights, sort of fairly typical of anything Gareth and Hogarth do, it needs a bit of drying time. I only got this pack through this morning, and it's a little moist, and I just sort of packed it straight into the pipe and lit it up. I didn't leave it to dry or anything, but you get it as this, let's see if I can orientate the pouch. You get it as this broken flake. It's very dark, very dark for a Lakeland, but that will be obviously the burley, and I think there's dark fired in there as well. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not an expert on these things, but the pouch note's really interesting because it's subtle. It is actually really very subtle. So yeah, as far as the Lakeland tobacco goes, it's really interesting one, because it puts itself in the camp straight away as being a dark, strong, smoky kind of tobacco, but with this really lovely, subtle, almost like the gilded edge of Lakeland around the outside of it, but not in an overpowering way. It's fantastic, really quite unique, I think. Anyway, that's it. That's really what this video is all about today for me. I thought I'd come out, have a smoke, read, bought one tin of liquid refreshment, and just enjoy and appreciate the process of being alive. So that's it for now. You guys take care, and I'll see you all again soon.